Okay, for the double knit tie for the side tie millie coach, we're going to start out by casting on 10 stitches with the indicated needle size in the pattern. So we'll start with a slip knot here. And I just use a long tail cast on, but you really can use whatever cast on method that you see fit, or what you're most comfortable with. So we're going to cast on 10 stitches. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And since this is a long tail cast on, we'll start our first row on the wrong side, but it really doesn't matter. Now, the first thing we're going to do in our instructions, our row says to slip our first stitch of the row through the back loop of our first stitch purlwise. Okay, and then we're going to bring our yarn to the front, and then we're going to slip our next stitch on the needle purlwise. Okay, and then we're going to put our yarn back to the back so that we can knit. And then we're just going to repeat that across the row. Yarn to the front, slip our next stitch purlwise, yarn to the back, knit. Yarn to the front, slip stitch purlwise, yarn to the back, knit. Yarn to the front, slip stitch purlwise, yarn to the back, knit. And you may find this very first row a little bit tricky since it's just your cast on loops. But you'll knit to the last stitch of the row, yarn to the front so that you can purl that last stitch. Okay, so that first row is complete. It's going to look a little wonky, but after a few rows it's really going to start to look the way it's supposed to. So we're going to turn our work and we're going to repeat that same row over and over for every row of this tie. So remember, the first step is to slip this first stitch through the back loop off the needle, yarn to the front, slip purlwise, yarn to the back and knit, yarn to the front, slip stitch purlwise, yarn to the back, knit. Okay, so we're going to do that all the way across the row. And it's going to be the same way no matter what method you're using for knitting. If you're doing continental like I am, or if you're doing the English style where you throw your yarn, it's all going to be the same no matter what. You're still going to put your yarn in the front and slip purlwise, yarn to the back and knit. And you'll slip your first stitch of your row the same exact way. And I'm just going to continue to knit this way, repeating these instructions for every row, and then I'll show you how this is going to look after several rows. Okay, now as you can see, we've knit several rows at this point, and I just want to show you in essence what we're accomplishing when we slip those stitches as we're creating this tie. So we have here on the edges our slipped stitches. So we slip those just as we would any normal slip stitch. But this purl stitch that's coming up next, we want to reserve to the reverse side of our tie. It's a knit stitch on the reverse side. And we're going to knit it later when we work this row, going the other direction. So that's why we want to put our yarn in the front so it doesn't get in the way of that row on the other side. And we're going to slip that stitch purlwise so it maintains its order on our right needle. Then yarn in the back, knit this stitch just as we see it on this side of our work. Yarn in the front, slip that purl stitch so we can work it later on the other side. Yarn to the back and knit this next stitch as we see it. So essentially what we're doing is we're just working half of our stitches on one side of our work and reserving the other half of our stitches on the other side of our work. And we just work those when we get to that side. So what we've done here is we've slipped the first stitch, we've slipped the second one to work on our reverse side, we've knit the next one, slipped the next, knit, slipped, knit, slipped, knit, and then purled the last one. Because what we do is when we turn our work, we slip that first stitch. So that's why it gets purled on this side. So essentially, what we're doing, as I said, is we're just knitting part of our stitches from this side of our work and reserving the other set of stitches to work on our other side. And what I'm going to do is pull out the needle here and show you what we're doing essentially is we're creating a tube. You can take a look there, because these are the stitches, all the stitches that we've knit on the front of our work, and these were our reserved stitches that were purls. And then when we reached the end of this row, we turned our work and we knit these reserved stitches and slipped these purl stitches. So hopefully that breaks it down and makes this method make a little more sense to you. But as you can see, when you're done knitting this tie, when you've knit up several rows, it's going to lay nice and flat. You shouldn't be getting a lot of curling or pulling. And the reason I like the long tail cast on is because if you take a look here, that bottom cast on stitches just give you a nice fluid clean line. And then of course the reverse side, you just have the little purl bumps. But if you take a look at the sides of your knit tie, they're just nice smooth little chain stitches, because they're your slip stitches for the first stitch